In the annals of unsolved mysteries, few cases have captivated the public's imagination, like the disappearance of Brian Shaffer. A promising medical student, Brian vanished without a trace on a seemingly ordinary night. The details of that night are as perplexing as they are chilling, leaving behind a trail of questions that remain unanswered to this day. Tonight we delve into the enigma of Brian Shaffer's disappearance, exploring every clue, every theory, and every haunting possibility. April 1st, 2006. What started as a typical night out for Brian Shaffer and his friends would soon become the stuff of nightmares. Brian, a second-year medical student at Ohio State University, was looking to unwind after a grueling week of exams. He met up with his friend, Clint Florence, at the Ugly Tuna Saloona, a popular bar in Columbus. The night began with laughter, drinks, and the promise of a good time. Security footage captured Brian entering the bar around 9 p.m. He was seen mingling with other patrons, seemingly in good spirits. As the night wore on, Brian and his friends decided to bar hop, visiting several other establishments along the way. They eventually returned to the Ugly Tuna Saloona around 1:15 a.m. But what happened next remains a mystery. The last known footage of Brian shows him talking to two women near the bar's entrance at around 1:55 a.m. Moments later, he steps out of the camera's view and is never seen again. Despite extensive searches and countless theories, the events of that night continue to baffle investigators and haunt those who knew him. As we delve deeper into the case, we must ask ourselves, what really happened to Brian Shaffer on that fateful night? Was it a tragic accident, a deliberate disappearance, or something far more sinister? Before we dive further into the events of that night, let's take a moment to understand who Brian Shaffer was. Brian was a 27-year-old medical student at Ohio State University, with a promising future ahead of him. Known for his charismatic personality and infectious smile, Brian was well-liked by his peers and professors. He had a passion for music, often dreaming of starting a band one day. His friends described him as adventurous and full of life, someone who could light up any room he walked into. But life wasn't all smooth sailing for Brian. In March 2006, just a week before his disappearance, Brian's mother tragically passed away from a rare form of cancer. This loss deeply affected him, and those close to him noticed a shift in his demeanor. Despite his grief, Brian remained determined to push through his studies and keep moving forward. Brian had a girlfriend, Alexis Wagoner, who he had been dating for a while. The two were planning a vacation to Miami, set to depart just days after that fateful night. Alexis described their relationship as loving and supportive, and she was eager to start their future together. As we piece together the fragments of Brian's life, we see a young man on the cusp of greatness, grappling with personal loss, yet filled with hope and ambition. The mystery of his disappearance only deepens when we consider the person he was and the life he was building. Now, let's delve into one of the most perplexing aspects of Brian Shaffer's disappearance: the CCTV footage. On the night of April 1st, 2006, Brian was captured on security cameras entering the Ugly Tuna Saloona around 1:15 a.m. He was seen chatting with two women outside the bar before re-entering at 1:55 a.m. This is the last known sighting of Brian. Interestingly, the security footage shows other patrons leaving the bar as it closed, but there is no footage of Brian exiting. How could this be? Did the cameras miss him somehow? Was there a blind spot? Or did something more sinister occur within the bar? Investigators meticulously reviewed the footage, frame by frame, but Brian seemed to vanish into thin air. There were no signs of distress or struggle in the footage, and no evidence that he had left the bar through any other exits, including the emergency ones. Even more baffling is the fact that the area surrounding the bar was heavily monitored, with multiple cameras covering various angles. This puzzling clue has left both investigators and armchair detectives scratching their heads. How does a person simply disappear in a crowded place with multiple security cameras? The enigma of the CCTV footage only deepens the mystery surrounding Brian Shaffer's fate. As we continue to explore this case, we'll look at the various theories that have emerged over the years. Could Brian have slipped out unnoticed, or is there a more sinister explanation? Despite the baffling CCTV footage, the search for Brian Shaffer was anything but passive. Authorities launched an extensive investigation immediately after his disappearance was reported. Family, friends, and volunteers scoured the area, distributing flyers and setting up search parties. The Columbus Police Department utilized every resource at their disposal, including search dogs, to comb through the surrounding areas. Detectives interviewed everyone who had been at the Ugly Tuna Saloon that night, hoping to uncover any details that might have been missed. The police even reviewed footage from nearby businesses, but Brian was nowhere to be seen. They also looked into his phone records and bank accounts, but there was no activity after the night he disappeared. The search extended beyond Columbus. Investigators contacted hospitals, homeless shelters, and even airports, considering the possibility that Brian might have left the city, or even the country. However, these efforts yielded no new leads. The case also garnered significant media attention, with news outlets covering the story extensively. This public exposure led to numerous tips and sightings, but unfortunately, none of them panned out. Despite the relentless efforts of law enforcement and the community, Brian Shaffer seemed to have vanished without a trace. Even with all these efforts, the investigation hit a dead end. The lack of concrete evidence and the mysterious circumstances surrounding his disappearance left everyone involved frustrated and heartbroken. As the years went by, the case grew colder, but the hope of finding Brian never truly faded. Now, more than a decade later, the search for answers continues. Could a fresh perspective or a new piece of evidence finally unravel the mystery? Only time will tell. The disappearance of Brian Shaffer has led to numerous theories and speculations over the years. Some believe he may have met with foul play. Could someone have lured him out of the bar and harmed him? Others speculate that Brian might have staged his own disappearance. But why would a promising medical student with a bright future ahead of him want to vanish? Another theory suggests that Brian could have suffered an accident and was somehow missed during the initial search efforts. The construction site near the Ugly Tuna Saloon was thoroughly examined, but could there have been an overlooked area? There's also the possibility that Brian left the bar disguised or through an unconventional exit. Some claim he might have used the service door, which wasn't covered by CCTV. This theory, however, raises more questions than answers. Then, there's the idea that Brian might have fallen victim to human trafficking or another criminal operation. Though less likely, it's a theory that hasn't been entirely ruled out. Over the years, numerous psychics have offered their insights, but none have led to any concrete findings. As each theory is explored and subsequently debunked, the mystery only deepens. What truly happened to Brian Shaffer that fateful night in April 2006? The disappearance of Brian Shaffer has left a profound and lasting impact on those closest to him. His family and friends have been living in a state of suspended grief, caught between hope and despair. Brian's father, Randy Shaffer, dedicated his life to searching for his son, tirelessly following every lead, no matter how small. Tragically, Randy passed away in 2008, still without answers, a heartbreaking testament to the toll this mystery has taken. Brian's younger brother, Derek, has also struggled with the loss, finding it difficult to move forward without knowing what happened to his sibling. Friends recall Brian as a vibrant, ambitious individual, full of life and potential. His girlfriend at the time, Alexis Wagoner, was devastated by his sudden disappearance. The two had planned to go on a trip together, and Alexis was expecting a proposal. Instead, she was left with unanswered questions and a void that has never been filled. For those who knew and loved Brian, the uncertainty is a constant, gnawing presence. Every missed birthday, holiday, and milestone is a painful reminder of his absence. The community has rallied around the family, offering support and holding vigils, but the lack of closure continues to haunt them all. The emotional toll is immeasurable. The hope that Brian might still be out there, alive and waiting to be found, is a double-edged sword. It keeps the search alive, but also prolongs the agony. As the years go by, the impact of Brian Shaffer's disappearance resonates deeply. a stark reminder of the fragility of life and the enduring strength of love and hope. The mysterious disappearance of Brian Shaffer quickly captured the attention of both local and national media. News outlets covered the story extensively, broadcasting updates and interviews with family members, friends, and law enforcement officials. The case drew significant public interest, with many people captivated by the idea of a young man vanishing without a trace from a crowded bar. Social media platforms became a hub for discussions, theories, and speculations. Online forums and true crime communities delved into every detail, analyzing security footage, timelines, and any available clues. Some individuals even took it upon themselves to conduct their own investigations, hoping to uncover something that might have been overlooked. Despite the widespread attention, the media frenzy brought its own set of challenges. The constant spotlight on the case added pressure on Brian's family and friends, who were already struggling with their own grief and confusion. The intense scrutiny sometimes led to misinformation and sensationalism, further complicating an already complex situation. Public interest in Brian Shaffer's disappearance has endured over the years, with new articles and documentaries periodically revisiting the case. Each new piece of coverage reignites the hope that someone, somewhere, might hold the key to solving this enduring mystery. The collective fascination and concern from the public serve as a reminder that Brian's story has touched many lives, even those who never knew him personally. In the end, the media's role in keeping Brian's case in the public eye is a double-edged sword. It ensures that his disappearance is not forgotten, but it also underscores the frustrating reality that despite all the attention, the answers remain elusive. The world continues to watch and wait, hoping for a breakthrough that will finally bring Brian Shaffer home. As of today, the case of Brian Shaffer's disappearance remains unsolved. Despite extensive searches, interviews, and media coverage, no new leads have emerged that could definitively explain what happened to him. Law enforcement continues to keep the case open, reviewing any new information that comes in. Over the years, there have been occasional tips and sightings reported, but none have led to a breakthrough. The FBI and local police still consider it an active investigation, but the trail has gone cold. Brian's family and friends have never given up hope. They continue to advocate for awareness and search for answers, clinging to the possibility that Brian could still be out there, somewhere. Online communities and true crime enthusiasts also remain invested in the case, constantly revisiting the details and generating new theories. The hope is that with continued attention and the advancements in technology, a crucial piece of evidence might eventually surface. Until then, the mystery of Brian Shaffer's disappearance endures, a haunting reminder of how someone can vanish without a trace, leaving behind questions that may never be answered. As the years have passed, advancements in technology and forensic science have offered new tools that could potentially shed light on Brian Shaffer's disappearance. Modern techniques such as enhanced DNA analysis, facial recognition software, and digital forensics have revolutionized the field of criminal investigation. Authorities have revisited Brian's case with these new methods, re-examining old evidence and exploring new avenues. For instance, enhanced facial recognition technology has been used to scan through social media platforms and surveillance footage from around the world, hoping to find a match for Brian's face. Additionally, the rise of online databases and the availability of genetic testing services have opened up possibilities for discovering unknown connections or previously overlooked evidence. Crowdsourced investigations and online communities continue to play a role, leveraging collective intelligence to scrutinize every detail of the case. Though no significant breakthroughs have been made yet, the hope is that these technological advancements might one day provide the answers that have eluded investigators for so long. Brian's family, friends, and the larger community remain optimistic that the key to solving this enduring mystery lies just around the corner, waiting to be uncovered. The pursuit of truth continues, driven by the relentless progress of science and the unwavering determination of those who seek closure.